Welcome to another episode of Build with Raymond, and today I'm just going to talk about a new feature that is right now live in beta for Wisp, and it's about contextual CTA, and I'm basically building it for myself, right? So I'm going to share with you how I'm thinking about my audience and what I want to do when they land on my site, right? So first of all, on my site, I write about a wide variety of topics from things like technical things like how to build a remix project to things that I hold very dearly to in terms of like building public, right? And to marketing case studies, growth hacking, strategies, technical stuff. For instance, bootstrapping, and then finally how to choose CMSs for people, right? And the thing is that different people will read the different blog posts on my site, and if I have a single CTA, just as I have right now, which looks like this, right? What's the point of content? Most people, this will just fly past the head of most people, and people do not convert. They do not sign up for mailing lists. They do not check out my site. They do not get interested in Wisp. So how do I capture the attention and drive up conversion rate from here, right? The answer that I wish works is something known as contextual CTA, right? That means as I am reading a blog post, for instance, like how to bootstrap a remix project, right? It's likely going to be a developer who is starting a new project, who wants to get started with whether his project or someone else's project, right? So it's not relevant if I throw in something about marketing strategy and all of that, right? But what could be relevant is that okay, when you read through and then at the end you'll be like, okay, how to add a blog to your remix project. Now that was going to be highly relevant to this person, and it's going to be more and I'm going to expect a higher conversion than if I throw that person something generic. The same thing is that I wouldn't put how to pick a CMS in that article. But if let's say I'm someone's reading an article for, let's say, a freelance project, right? My CTA could be like, oh, manage multiple blogs, manage multiple clients' blogs within a single interface. Now that is useful for this person who is reading something about freelancing and agency related article, and not like how to bootstrap a remix project. That would be interesting, but the bigger pain point about them about freelancing is that can I choose a free solution for my client? Can I have a multi-tenanted solution? Can I have something that has already got a template, right? So I want my CTAs, right, to be contextual to whatever the person is reading, right? And I have multiple actions that they can take from there, right? So, and obviously I might want to move this CTA somewhere near the middle of the article too, right? So that's the grand idea around how I like to design my CTA to really boost the conversion rates on my blog post itself. And similarly, if you look at a lot of like very big SaaS projects, they are manually tagging different CTAs to their blog posts and all of that, and I want to automate that, right? So I'm going to show you like how everything looks like. So this is the universe of blog posts. For those of you who are new here, you might want to revisit earlier video where I show you basically me visualizing 1,000 blog posts on my on the Wisp platform, right? So this is the universe of like blog posts on Wisp, right? And I'm just going to zoom into just like Wisp owned article. So all of those ones labeled in blue are Wisp article. Okay, to do a quick recap on what this means, right? Each dot represents a single blog post, and it's using an embedding that is reduced down to 2D space x and y axis, right? Embedding is just a numerical representation, a vector of like what the content of the blog post is, right? And basically by collapsing it into 2D, I can have a visual scan around like where each article is clustered around. So the main idea around this is that I want to look at my own articles, right? So the ones of the Wisp blog, right? They are now all highlighted in blue in this section over here. Now I want to know what kind of classes are available, and how can I make a CTA from there. Maybe let's take a step back in maybe understanding like the ideal customer profile or ICPs for Wisp. At least my best attempt at explaining it today. There's probably a few overlap, and there's it's not a clear cut of like who's that a single person cannot be in more than one category. So for instance, like there are mainly 6 kind of people which are on Wisp platform right now. The first kind is developers who are mainly building their own things, or building a thing for the employer. So they might be searching for things like how to fetch related blog posts, how to implement like Wisp editor, how to add stripes payments, how to add pagination, SEO stuff about content. That's one of the ways that they can land on my site, right? For developers, my CTA needs to be geared towards the developer. How do I make life easier? How do I give them more things to start with? Can I give them code examples of, let's say, implementing Wisp, show them how easy it is, right? Should I put them on a mailing list that is suited for a developer, right? So there's plenty of things that I can do for that. The next one is early stage startup CEO or business founders, and a lot of them are interested in like the 0 to 1 growth, right? And things like if they are saving costs, they are looking for a Git or file-based blog, best CMS out there, looking at content for product-led growth, founder-led growth, that sort of things. Some of them are interested in indie hacker, build in public. They might be looking, if they have not started on anything yet, they might be looking for starter kits and reviews of starter kits. So that's my content, like the kind of content that fits that early stage CEO or CTO might be interested in. Now moving on to indie hacker, they are very much a mix of these two, right? But usually like they are very much interested in building public stuff, tech stacks people use, SaaS, starter kits and all. Now an interesting set of audience that I have on Wisp is actually web design or web development agencies, which I didn't actually think about earlier on. And some of the things that they look for is like CMS selection. How do I select this and that? How do I fix this for my CMS? Specific things that client is asking for, like let's say how to search for a blog post on my site, that sort of things, right? They might be looking for more replicable, cookie cutter, like templates that they can actually start off for their clients. So templates would be interesting. I do have one, right? Another thing that is quite unique to agencies is multi-tenancy feature, right? Imagine being able to manage like 20 different clients blog in one interface, just as I can actually do so in here, right? So those content would be interesting to like agency owners, agencies, developers and all. And then there are other stuff, for those looking to do some side projects. They are looking to dabble a little bit on the technical part, touch a little bit of code, but don't really want to implement everything. In fact, my first paying user belongs to this category, right? So there are different categories of like people who uses Wisp, and I want to see, based on my content, right? Can I already create CTAs for existing clusters, right? So as I've mentioned, each of this blue dot is actually an article on Wisp itself, right? And visually you can see that there are already a few clusters, and towards the right side, you can see there's actually far more clusters than what you can visually see. The reason for this is that the clustering is done in a more than a 2D space, so it can be clustered into more different groups of article. But over here, because it's reduced down to 2D space, projected onto the 2D space already, it loses some dimensions, spatial data that we cannot observe anymore. But we are just going to go through it, right? So you can see the first obvious cluster out, just sticking out here is actually, things alternative, right? Top 3 contentful CMS alternative, like how to pick a CMS for freelance web project, explore the best blogging platform, detailed comparison of this versus that. So this is actually a good cluster by itself, right? So probably I can create a cluster there. So what else? Let's take a look at here. Okay, so this is when to say this is specific to Next.js, right? So cluster -1 seems like it doesn't know where to go with that. Okay, so the next thing is setting up TRPC, setting up Stripe. So a lot of this is still related to Next.js. So this feels a little bit like Next.js developer cluster. So I can actually ship like how to add a blog, a CTA to be like, oh, add a blog in the next 3 hours to your Next.js project, right? And that would go here. Okay. Yeah. So what's next? So how to add related content. So can you see cluster 135? So turning this off and on. So over here is actually some based on some of this content stuff, like how to do what for another platform. So the idea is that if someone is already using or trying out like another project like Sanity, right, I can actually get their eyeball on Wisp, right? If they are searching for something and then they land on the Wisp site. So this is the good chance for me to actually talk about like related content is actually automatically suggested in Wisp, right? Hop over, right? So that's also one other clusters that I can look at. So this is very specific to related content, right? What else, right? So 97, cluster 97, let's take a look at this. Okay, cluster 97, right? Oh, can you see this? This looks like a built-in public cluster. Can you see? Right, so cluster 97 seems to be built in public cluster, so it will be probably a newsletter CTA, right? Want to watch me build in public with Wisp? Head over to this cluster, and then you can see how every time I have something new, for instance like this video, right, I can actually send that to you. Okay, so what other clusters are there? So related blog posts, so these are actually these two. All of these things are very much in the like built-in public cluster. Let's take a look at this, right? So don't just publish content, use it to unlock industry door. 0 to 1,000 followers strategic path for indie hackers on Twitter. So something about people using content to grow their traffic. So over here, probably 0 to 1 growth, probably content strategy, right? So over here, a little bit more towards social media marketing, right? Specifically Reddit, right? So I can create content just for that, right? A little bit towards the mental health side, imposter syndrome, hustle and burnout. So this is something that I can create new content for, right? These are something to do with startup like company formation, right? So that's something that I can write about also. So you can see different clusters over here. So how is that relevant for me, right? And what am I going to do with that? So with Wisp, so this is the regular Wisp platform, right? And there's actually a beta feature right now. It's called Contextual CTA. It's already live, and if you go into it, you can see that right now, of course, you start off empty, right? And I've already created one contextual CTA that maps to the cluster around choosing a headless CMS. So you can think of it as like it's going to be there's going to be on the dot here, right? That means all the nearest blog posts to this will actually be suggested with this contextual CTA. That means on the front end, I can render something that talks about like choosing the perfect CMS, right? And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to add like maybe one or two more clusters over here. I'm going to show you an example. Let's say Next.js 14, right? So I'm going to create a new one. So Next.js developer Next.js, right? Let's take a look at what kind of things can we write about. Okay, something maybe about type this one. So let's do set up build a blog on Next.js in add in the next one let's do 1 hour, right? And then content about Next.js. Okay, maybe just a little explanation on what this form means, right? So the slug is actually used to return a unique key to your front end for you to decide on what CTA to render on the front end, right? Title and description is also returned, but what you choose to do with the tree field is really up to you. What I intend to do is actually for slug to be used as a key that will be mapped to CTA block, right? Title and description is just some annotation for me right now, right? So I'm going to search for Next.js, JS, pending subscription, comprehensive. Okay, let's do this. So over here, what I'm doing is I'm selecting the blog post that is the basically ground zero for this CTA, right? That means whenever I have a single block, let's say for instance, now you see I have a CTA here and I have a CTA here. Now if let's say there is going to be this post, right, is looking for its contextual CTA, it's closer to here, so it will actually map. So it will actually map to the first to my first CTA that you see here, this one on choosing CMS, rather than the one further. So if something is closer to here, right, where the distance is shorter to here, it will map to the CTA on that side. So the idea around this is that I can pick many points on this map, let's say 6 different points, right, and all my blog posts will definitely be mapped to a CTA based on the shortest distance between the embeddings, right? This will mean that it's going to choose the call to actions that is the most contextually relevant to a blog post. And each time when you are creating a contextual CTA, all you need to do is just select a ground zero for the blog post, and and basically your all your blog posts will actually remap to to give you the shortest distance CTA over here. So you can start seeing the value the moment you add 2 different kind of CTA, because then you are partitioning like your blog post into basically 2 partitions of it's not even equal size, right? So if you have more blog posts closer to this partition, you'll see more blog posts showing like this particular CTA. So what this does is that it creates it allows you to ship multiple CTA that's relevant, and you can experiment with the distance and all of that. So this is a very early feature right now. It's pretty much undocumented, but I'm just recording this just to show you the potential of it, right? What I'm going to do next is that I will actually be adding I'll be adding it as a live example on Wisp, definitely, right? And on top of that, something to really showcase to you what kind of CTA is available is that later on in your edit post, you'll be able to see what each of the individual blog posts get mapped to, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually just wiring all these things together and showing the world like what this contextual CTA is. And quite honestly, I think this is the first in the world. I have not seen something like that by any other CMSs. So let's see where this goes. I'm really excited to ship this.